Let's talk about something that happens more often than we admit. Those awkward little questions that somehow sneak into conversations and leave everyone feeling a bit uncomfortable. You know the kind. You're sitting at a family dinner, or maybe chatting with someone after church, and suddenly someone drops a question that makes the whole room go quiet. We've all been there, either as the one who asked or the one silently thinking, did they really just say that? Now, this isn't about scolding anyone or acting like we're better than others. Heck, I've asked my fair share of the wrong things over the years. But as we get older, we start to care more about grace, about how we make people feel. And sometimes that means learning what not to ask, even if our heart is in the right place. So today, we're diving into the kinds of questions that classy people with real wisdom and life experience, simply don't ask. And if someone ever asks you one of these, don't worry. I'll also give you some clever ways to handle it without making things worse. And before we begin, I'd love to know which city you're watching from. Drop in the comments below and hit the subscribe button for more valuable insights and tips. Now let's get started. 1. How much did that cost? Now this one might seem innocent, right? Like just casual curiosity. But let's be honest, the moment that question leaves someone's mouth, things can get real awkward, real fast. Whether it's about your new shoes, your car, or even your new kitchen cabinets. When someone asks how much something cost, it puts you in a weird spot. Because what are you supposed to say? If it was expensive, you might feel like you're showing off. If it was a bargain, maybe you're worried they'll think it's cheap. Either way, now you're thinking about explaining yourself, and that's never fun. And let's not forget, we all come from different financial situations. Just because something's affordable for one person doesn't mean it is for someone else. Classy folks know that asking about money, especially in a direct way, crosses a line, turns a friendly chat into a quiet little competition. And really, who needs that? Now, if you ever get asked that question, and you probably have, there's no need to get defensive. Keep it light. Say something like, just enough to make me happy. Or, it was worth it. That way, you're not dodging the question in a rude way, you're just setting a boundary with a smile. Because at this stage in life, we've earned the right to enjoy our things without explaining them to anyone. 2. When are you having kids? Now this one, oof. It might come from a kind place, especially from someone who just saw a wedding photo on Facebook and is feeling all sentimental, but it lands heavy. Real heavy. Asking someone when they're having kids sounds simple, but it opens up a door to something deeply personal. Maybe they've been trying, and it's been heartbreaking. Maybe they never wanted children, or maybe they just aren't sure yet. And honestly, it's nobody's business unless they bring it up first. You see, classy people, the kind who've lived through enough to know better, understand that not every part of life is meant to be up for public discussion. Some stories are private, and asking about babies can touch a nerve you don't even know is there. It's like picking up a book halfway through and demanding to know how it ends. You're skipping over all the pages someone might not be ready to share. And if you ever get asked this question, especially in a room full of people, try not to let it rattle you. A calm response like, that's a pretty personal question, but thanks for asking, sends a clear message without being rude. And if you're feeling a little playful, toss in a, let's talk about my houseplants. They're the only things growing around here. Bottom line, if someone wants to talk about kids, they will. Until then, admire their dog, or their travel stories, or even their homemade banana bread. Trust me, it's safer ground for everyone. 3. Why are you still single? This one. You'd think people would have stopped asking it by now, but nope, it still pops up like an unwanted pop-up ad. And let me tell you, there's no good way this question ever lands. First off, it assumes there's something wrong with being single. Like you've somehow missed a deadline or forgot to fill out a form. As if life is only complete with a partner. Truth is, some folks are single by choice. Others are healing. And many are simply enjoying their lives without having to explain why there's no one on the other side of the bed. People who've lived a little, people like us, know that relationships are complicated. Life has its seasons. And sometimes, the most peaceful, fulfilling season is the one where you're on your own. So when someone asks, why are you still single? What do they expect? A PowerPoint presentation on your dating history? A full emotional report? It's a rude question in a friendly disguise. But if it ever comes your way, you've got options. You can smile and say, I'm just enjoying this chapter of my life. Or even, I haven't met anyone as fabulous as me yet. Keep it light, but make it clear you're not waiting around, you're living. And if you're feeling a bit spicy, a gentle, I'd rather be single than settle, usually shuts it down with style. Because here's the thing, being single isn't a problem. It's not something that needs fixing. And anyone who knows what real peace feels like, they'll get it. For, are you pregnant? Now listen, if there's one question that should have been locked away and thrown into the ocean decades ago, it's this one. And yet, people still ask it. At family gatherings, church potlucks, even in line at the grocery store. It's like some folks just can't help themselves. Let's be crystal clear here. Unless someone has personally told you they're expecting, or they're literally in labor right in front of you, don't ask. Ever. Because here's what happens if they're not pregnant. You've just made someone painfully self-conscious about their body. And even if they are pregnant but weren't ready to share yet, you've put them in a tough spot. Either way, it's awkward, uncomfortable, and just not your business. We all know bodies change over time, especially as we age. We gain, we lose, we bloat after pasta. It's normal. And if someone's wearing a flowy dress or holding their belly after dessert, that doesn't mean it's time for a baby question. If you're ever on the receiving end of this, and I truly hope you never are, keep your cool. You could say, nope, just enjoying life and dinner. Or something like, now that's a risky question. It gets the point across without turning it into a scene. Bottom line, classy people don't make others feel self-conscious, especially about their bodies. If you want to compliment someone, try "you look happy" or "that color looks great on you." Those words never go out of style. 5. How old are you? This one's a classic, the Thanksgiving special, right? Usually asked by someone who means well but somehow manages to make you feel like you just stepped into a spotlight you didn't ask for. Now don't get me wrong. Age is nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, getting older is a privilege. But still, that question can feel off. Puts people on the spot, especially when it's asked out of the blue or in front of others. It can make someone feel judged, like they're being sized up or put into a box. And truthfully, age doesn't tell you much. You could be 75 and full of energy, or 45 and feeling worn down. What really matters is how someone lives, their attitude, their kindness, their spark. Classy people see that. They compliment the spirit, not the number. So if someone asks you, how old are you? And it feels like they're just being nosy, you've got a few graceful exits. Try, old enough to know better than to answer that, with a wink, or just gently ask back, why do you ask? Most of the time, that's enough to make them realize they've stepped out of line. Because at the end of the day, your age is your business, not your definition. And anyone with real wisdom knows that growing older isn't something you explain. It's something you own. 6. Why don't you talk to insert family member? Now this is a landmine dressed as a conversation starter. On the surface, it might sound like concern. But deep down, it's poking into something that could be painful, private, or just plain complicated. Family dynamics aren't always picture perfect. Sometimes there's history, years of hurt, misunderstandings, or choices made to protect your own peace. And unless someone has invited you into that story, it's not your place to ask. Classy folks know that. They know that not everything needs to be explained, especially when it comes to family. When someone asks, why don't you talk to your brother? Or what happened with your daughter? They might not realize it, but they're crossing a very personal line. That question can reopen wounds or force someone to explain something they've spent years trying to move on from. If you ever get asked something like this, you don't owe anyone the full backstory. A calm, firm reply like, that's kind of a private matter, but thanks for understanding, is more than enough. And if they keep pressing, redirect, anyway, how's your family doing? Smooth, polite, and you're out. Because the truth is, people choose silence for a reason. And if someone isn't talking to a family member, it's likely not because they forgot to send a birthday card. It's deeper than that. And real class means respecting the boundary without asking to see the blueprint. 7. How much do you make? Oh boy, this one's a total no-go. Asking someone about their salary is like trying to peek into their wallet without permission. It's personal, private, and honestly, a bit rude. Yet somehow, people still ask it like it's just small talk. Money is tricky. It can bring up insecurities, comparisons, and awkwardness faster than you can say, tax season. Maybe someone makes more than you expect, maybe less. Either way, it's not really anyone's business unless they choose to share. If you're curious about negotiating a raise or switching careers, there's a polite way to handle it. Instead of straight up asking, try, "Do you have any advice for negotiating in this field?" That way, you get helpful insight without putting anyone on the spot. And if someone asks you how much you make, keep it cool and vague. Something like, "Enough to keep doing what I love," or, "I'm comfortable, thanks for asking." Keeps things light and ends the conversation smoothly. Remember, classy people don't pry into wallets, they focus on respect. Money talks are for accountants, not casual chats. Hey, is that real? This question might sound harmless, but trust me, it can land like a slap. Whether it's about a designer handbag, a sparkling ring, or someone's hair, asking if something is real basically says, "I don't believe you," and that's not a classy vibe. Imagine showing off something you're proud of and then getting hit with, "Is that real?" It's like being told your effort or style isn't good enough. Instead, classy people know how to keep the mood positive. Compliments go a lot further than suspicion. If you ever get asked this, handle it with confidence and a smile. Say something like, "Absolutely, it's 100% real, and fabulous." Then smoothly change the subject, maybe toss in a light comment about a new movie or something fun. That way, you dodge the awkwardness and keep things upbeat. Bottom line, trust beats doubt in any conversation. When you give someone the benefit of the doubt, you're spreading good vibes, and that's always classy. 9. Are you sure you want to eat that? Alright, this question deserves a big red do not ask sign. Nothing kills the joy of a good meal faster than someone side-eyeing your plate or judging your food choices. Whether it's carbs, dessert, or, yes, even nachos for breakfast. Don't judge. They're delicious. Food is personal. For many of us, especially as we get older, food can be one of life's simple pleasures. So when someone questions your eating habits mid-bite, it feels less like concern and more like a criticism. Classy folks know to keep those opinions to themselves, unless you're specifically asking for advice. If you get hit with this question, own it with a smile. "Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this all day." That kind of confidence shuts down the judgment without drama and lets you enjoy your meal in peace. Remember, food is fuel, but it's also comfort, celebration, and sometimes just pure happiness. Let people savor it without the side of unsolicited opinions. 10. What do you do all day? Now this one, oh boy, it's a classic trap, especially for anyone who's retired, staying at home, or just living life on their own terms. When someone asks, "What do you do all day?" it can come off like they're doubting your worth or productivity. And honestly, that's just plain rude. Life doesn't have to be all hustle and grind, especially as we get older. Maybe your days are filled with hobbies, volunteering, catching up with friends, or simply enjoying quiet moments. That doesn't make your time any less valuable. Classy people get that and ask about what you're passionate about instead. If someone asks you this question, you can flip it with humor or grace. Try, "Oh, I keep busy with plenty of things. Some world domination, some napping," or, "I'm enjoying life and focusing on what matters most to me." Light, confident, and no need to justify your pace. At the end of the day, what you do is your story, and you get to tell it on your terms, not because someone else demands it. Alright, we've covered a lot of ground, but here's the thing, no one's perfect. We all slip up and ask awkward questions sometimes. What really matters is learning to be thoughtful and kind in our conversations. Setting boundaries when needed, keeping confidence, and showing genuine respect. That's what true class looks like. So next time you're chatting, remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about making everyone around you feel comfortable and valued. And hey, that's a vibe everyone can get behind. Let's be the generation that sets the example, not just with how we look, but with how we treat each other. That kind of class never goes out of style. Before we wrap up, have you ever been caught off guard by a question that made you feel uncomfortable? Maybe even a bit funny afterward? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and laugh or learn together. If you enjoyed these tips on living with grace and kindness, don't forget to like, share with a friend, and subscribe.